Welcome to our third episode of Out of Frame podcast. Today, across me is an amazing person, a CEO, a technologist, a curator. Gianluca, welcome to our podcast. Welcome to Dubai.
Hey, Max. Great being here. Thank you.
I'm really happy to have you. And I just wanted to give you like 1 minute for you to introduce yourself in the way that you would like to be introduced.
Thank you, Max. My name is Gianluca Boccadifuoco, and I'm CEO and founder of muro.art. And pretty much coming from an innovation management background and worked in different startup. I've always worked in the startup environment, had my own projects and support also as advisor and as a freelance, like different projects in the Web3, deep tech, art-tech space. And pretty much now I'm here living in Qatar, expanding Muro, and glad to be here in Dubai to meet you.
Super, really cool. I really want to dive into all of these topics and try to understand you as a person more deeply. But before we go, I just want to get us going, and I have some fire questions for you. So
Let's go.
You can give quick, short answers to our fire questions. So number one, espresso or macchiato?
Espresso.
Ah, okay, Italian, of course. Of course, he'll give this answer. Second one, cars or bikes?
Bikes.
And we just discussed this over dinner the other day. Yeah, Ducati, of course. But for Qatar, you think bikes work well for Qatar?
It feels very dangerous place to drive a bike, but
Okay.
but I envision like this coastline, these long roads between the desert and the sea. So I also want to explore in the winter when the weather is good enough and see.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the rest of the year is a bit too warm for a bike. So
Yeah, understood. Okay, third one, 9 to 5 job or a startup?
startup.
You always choose a startup?
Pretty much. And then when I choose a startup, then I
Dream
want
about
the-
9 to 5, yeah? Having some schedule, having some peace in your life.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel you there. Okay, next one, Europe or Middle East?
Oof.
I know you have a team in Europe. You're building your team here in Middle East, so
My heart is divided in two right now. So I would say both right now. And in this moment, Middle East is the right place to be.
right.
In terms of like friends, family, life, I would say Europe.
Cool. And last one, physical art or digital art?
Well, digital. I have to say digital.
But you personally, like, do you enjoy physical art as well, even though your business is in digital art?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yes.
Are you yourself collecting any physical pieces maybe?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. I have all my pieces in Lisbon right now, in
in a
storage and garage and warehouse.
I see. That's really cool. Thank you so much. I hope these questions lose you a bit, and we can dive deep into more
Well, you
serious
promised me a
questions.
shot of martini. But
Actually, espresso martini was supposed to happen before this, but it's 10 a.m., so we decided not to go with it. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, who was Gianluca or Mr. G? As just for everyone watching, we have to give some respect. It's Mr. G, I think,
Thank
above
you.
Gianluca. Who were you in high school?
Oof, I was the kind of student who always tried to, instead of really studying, I was studying out to, like not to study. Like I was trying to figure out how to pass the exams or the homework in the most efficient ways. I was the one who pretty much like occupied the school for 4 days during my last year. And so we slept in the school and we protested against like there were some laws from the Italian ministers that we weren't like those student protests, and I was the one leading the student protest and
It
was
was in Sicily or no?
yeah, in Palermo. So was and my high school was actually in a neighborhood that wasn't like it was a kind of a popular, hectic neighborhood. So imagine like all these high school students sleeping for 4 days there. Was a very hectic experience. So that was pretty much, yeah, I don't know. I flew through high school like trying to optimize whatever.
But was it successful protest at the end?
I mean, they didn't change the law.
Okay. But how did they kick you out? With like a hose of water, you know, or how did they?
We compromised. Like that was one of my highest
Achievements,
negotiation moment, actually, where when I, you know, like when the director of the school like asked us to enter, and we said, no, sorry, you can't enter, and now the students are occupying the school.
Wow.
And she said, yeah, but I need to pay the professor. So we kind of created a compromise. Then after 4 or 5 days, they sent us the police, and
The story
so we
ended,
had to. Okay, we're going back to school.
Your
now.
bravery ended there,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So actually, it seems like for the beginning you had a little bit of leadership in you, right? Or maybe natural.
Yeah, always.
If it's the right cause, yeah.
My mom used to say that, like when at the birthday parties, and when I was like 5 or 6, they put me into like a birthday party situation. I was the one who started doing games and leading people into playing. And I started working at 14, and I worked as an entertainer in resorts. Like, you know, I was the one doing kind of DJ and radio and doing all these entertainment games, like in this resort in Sicily for the customers staying there. So I was like, I had this entertaining people leading skill, which I've always like felt comfortable and enjoyed in you know, in organizing entertainment, in getting people together, in creating like a sort of attraction to focus on, to make people enjoy, to make people feel well. So that started very early, and it's something I like, you know, started doing at 14, 15, 16.
What was the school like? It was some special what do you call this, like specialized direction of school?
No,
or
no,
some
that
general
was I was
gymnasium?
was high math, was experimental math. I was studying like chemistry and all this
So, but
difficult thing. But that was outside of my school. I was finishing school in June, and from June till September, I was going to work in hotels as an entertainer. So.
Cool. That's cool. And once you finished high school, did you go to college?
Yes.
You did. You finished?
Yes.
Oh wow! Congratulations. on
I'm
that,
not
actually.
a college dropout.
Okay. I wanted to ask you because people usually, when they finish high school, they go to college, they start to work or something. But as I understand, when you were 19, you already started your first startup.
Yes.
Right. What was this about and why?
Well, actually, it was with one of my high school. Was with the smartest kid in the high school. Who was
Just
like,
grabbed him up.
was
Come
the
with me, let's
the
go.
one who was like really into Apple and really into like coding, and like at 18, 19, like was actually at 18 like into code, like you hear coding and it's like, what is coding? And like so this guy was knew how to program an app, and that was I mean, in my high school I lived the whole explosion of app, right? Like there was the app store.
Right.
I still remember when I was like used to jailbreak my iPhone and install like all the application, and so we lived the moment where everything was supposed to be an app, right? And one of the problem I had back then was actually that I was a very curious person, and I was using a lot YouTube. And in YouTube there was it's a sea of information, right? There's so many contents. So how do you choose the best content? How do you like, if you want to learn something, if you want to watch a tutorial, how to build an IKEA furniture or how to make a podcast, right? You're gonna find a lot of tutorial. But who wants to really commit for a 1 hour video, 30 minutes video? How many times happened to you that you start something and then after 10 minutes you realize, oh, I don't understand, I get lost.
Just to tell you now, after like all of these social media and the short format, after 2 minutes, if a video is over 2 minutes, I'm already like, oh yeah, let's skip.
So this is also what happened in the last 10 years, right? That our attention span reduced. But 10, 15 years ago, even before that was the time of Vines, and there were, so that was the time where my first project was actually was called How To, and was creating a 30 seconds video tutorial on how to do things, because contents were very long, and I was predicting that contents were becoming shorter and our attention span was becoming shorter. So it was a curated list of tutorial videos. So that was the first project, and I tried to start things off in Palermo, but there was not an entrepreneurial ecosystem strong enough to nurture this idea.
Right.
So I kind of paused it, and I left and formed myself in places where I felt I could create things.
That's really cool. That's cool. In general, I just wanted to, like we always talk about startups, but how would you define a startup? You've been through a few. What would be your definition of a startup? So, what is a startup?
A startup is falling off a cliff and building an airplane while you're falling. That's
Okay.
I'm quoting from someone. I don't remember who,
No,
but
it's a good quote, yeah.
But this quote is stuck with me.
It's a good definition.
Yeah.
Really. It's a good definition.
It's all about. I think it's all about having a vision of what, like the kind of value you create, what kind of impact is going to have in the future, and that is what is moving you forward. But everything in between, it's about being flexible and solving the problems that gets you there. And that's so this is probably the most entertaining aspect of having, of startups, is like that every day there's something new. Every day there's a new challenge. Every day there's new solutions you can bring up. So that's probably the most satisfying part.
Really cool. You've told me briefly that actually you've also helped other founders raise money for their startups and so on. Like, what is my question actually is, what are the main key characteristics of founders who, for example, were able to raise money, go from idea to realization? Do you see any common characteristics of these people that are kind of successful in startup world?
Definitely resilience.
Resilience, yeah.
Yeah. So that capacity to, like receiving a lot of no's, receiving a lot of, you're not going to make it. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? This will never work. Like receiving all these negative slaps.
Right.
But just like scroll them off and being able to just keep going. I think this is the most important aspect, with the capacity of also like being able to listen and incorporate, in the way you're doing things, the feedback, or like being able to curate and select what is coming your way, and bring it in your own way in what you're doing. But definitely like determination is key to being able to just keep moving forward.
Do you think, for example, when you have investors and they're looking at so many different projects, opportunities, founders, maybe there is not enough of a track record for them to say, oh, these guys are resilient. Like for investors, are they looking more at a person, or they're looking maybe more at the project or projections, or?
It's a good question. Depends. I feel depends on the stage of the startup. Depends on the kind of startup. Depends. I feel it really depends also on the network. I think one of the main value, one of the richest thing a person can cultivate is also the value of his network. I think in general, like in life, this always tells a lot about a person. What kind of people you surround yourself with, right? What kind of friends do you have? But not in terms of like social value or right, or like how good are the humans around you, right? How ambitious, or how like the people around you, like how much they want to push you forward. So this is in general like is always applies, and in a professional setting, I think that having the network of people that can get you to the right introduction, can get you the warm introduction to someone and say, hey, this guy is solid. I know this guy for 10 years. He's doing something cool. Listen to him. So these are the best, when you have this kind of introduction, and then everything else is like, legit and proper, usually things happen.
Understood. That's cool. Super. Actually, I like that you put really focused on people, not so much like on the, because I think ideas are cheap. I don't know if you agree. but in general, like having ideas, it's easy, it's simple. Everyone has a
Yeah.
hundred ideas per day, but it's about people, like who is here to be creative enough, resilient enough to complete them, right? To realize them.
And execution for sure, and the vision as well, right? So what you want to do with that idea?
Yeah.
What is the real purpose behind that idea? You know?
Right.
So that's.
But really, it's not the direction I want to go. But I'm curious now. How do I ask it? Anyways, it's a new thought in my head. We'll discuss it later.
Okay.
Let's move on. How did you end up in Portugal? This is my question.
I used to live in. So I did my master in innovation in Berlin, and I ended up staying after 3 months. I was in Berlin. I ended up having another startup, and somehow I stayed in Berlin for 5 years.
Wow.
And
how old were you at that time?
From 22, 27, something like this.
Wow.
So and then I realized that it was a bit too cold, Berlin, for me.
Okay. I see.
No, but what happened is that I had the opportunity to work with some amazing people in Berlin and in the Web3 space, and they start focusing in the creative industry. They start like investing and incubating projects in the creative space. And I had the opportunity to pretty much like support the whole incubation and of these new projects. And some of the projects were happening in Lisbon. So thanks to this company I worked with for 2 years, we started like actually the first crypto art festival in Lisbon in 2020. So in full pandemic, we took a warehouse, and like we had like we were live streaming some artists, some talks, some podcasts, but we built a whole virtual museums, virtual gallery, and we ended up having around 15,000 avatar attending live, and we sold a lot of NFTs, and we exhibited like a lot of artists. So it was a big success, and that was the moment where like I started doing a bit of forth and back in between Berlin and Lisbon. And in terms of quality of living, I realized that as I'm from Sicily, a Mediterranean place like Portugal, like Lisbon, was better fitting my needs.
Your soul.
My soul.
Your soul.
Yeah, I need the ocean. And it's all about having high hectic work. Is always about doing high hectic, high pressure work in a low pressure environment. So this is something I realize is key, that you need a place to decompress you when you're going through a lot of stress and a lot of work. So Lisbon was the perfect mix, because you were like going to the office, you were working, you were having a lot of hectic situation, and then you were going to the beach and everything was slow around you. So this contrast that really helped actually my mental health, that after 5 years in Berlin and working in startups was
right. It's quite different.
there was definitely like mental health is also something maybe we can touch
Sure.
in this conversation, but Lisbon was the key to reset and to heal for me, because coming from Berlin, I mean, and doing startup is great, but it's also a lot, and so I've been able to decompress and change environment. For me, was the key to to be healthy.
That's really great. I want to ask you then. I know you have a gallery in Portugal. Is that something that came together when you started Muro as well, or it was something that you already started before Muro? How did gallery came into?
So in Lisbon, when I moved to Lisbon, then after after 1 year, I pretty much like decided to start Muro, and because in my involvement in all this artistic and creative process, I fell in love with the art and with digital art, and so, wanted to work with creators. So it started like buzzing in my mind the idea of like, let's have a space where we can like keep play with all these creators, where we can keep like keep the conversation, the discussion alive, and exhibit all these digital artists we work with. So one of my dearest friend, partner, and mentor is Dimitri de Jong, and he's also my partner in all these creative adventures I'm going through. And so we found a space, and we decided to pretty much like have a shared studio, creative studio. So now we opened RNA, which is a creative studio shared between 3 different partners, and is where like the Muro Digital Art Gallery is hosted today, and where like every month we have different events, exhibitions, and is the house of a lot of different creatives.
Cool, that's cool. Then I want to ask you, you said you fell in love with digital art, but was it like your door to digital art? Were there NFTs, or it was not? It's not related, because people a lot of times they go end up loving digital art. Me myself as well is by getting in through NFTs and being interested. Oh, there's so much money, people are doing projects, and it just kind of draws you. But then you end up being in love with digital art.
It's a good point. I've always seen through the bubble. Like it was clear to me that those PFP had no use or made not really sense at the time. Like it's a great use case, and we tried also to make sense of that as application, like for ticketing, for community, but these are technologies that I think it will really have like a mass adoption, and still in a couple of years. So it was clearly like a hype and a big bubble. And actually our work was to pretty much educate artists of what was making sense. And we've seen a lot of artists going in the direction of let's like doing NFTs just for the money aspect without any art involved. But we also start working a lot with digital artists that start using NFTs as a way to technologically like put a stamp of ownership and provenance to the digital artwork and the pieces they were doing. So I guess was always like, it was the digital art that hooked me in. I mean, I'm coming from the NFT Web3 side of things, but what made me really passionate was not the NFTI, but was seeing like amazing digital artworks, generative pieces, and I was like, oh, I want to see more. I want to,
Cool.
I want to know how these things are made. I want to see what's the artist behind the tools and so on.
I think for general public, they want to know an answer. Can people today make money from NFTs?
Are we giving financial advice?
We can put a disclaimer if you want.
I will answer no, because if you're looking at NFTs from a digital art perspective, I think the secondary market for digital art is still very young. So it's something that it will develop a lot, I think, in the future. But we're missing a lot of infrastructure to also understanding what's the what's the price determination of an NFTs. How do you determine? It's the same question in the art space. But right now in the NFT space, you have like traders that literally like can inflate the like the price of the value of something. Sure. So I think till we understand I think we need to build the economic system, the economic infrastructure around digital art. NFT is the technological tool that we stay there, but we haven't yet fully learned how to use it. So something one of the reasons also why Muro started was because working in all these exhibitions and galleries and pretty much like talking to our collectors, they wanted to buy, they wanted to, not to buy digital art, they wanted to display digital art in their homes. And then you were showing the price of artworks and, and they start saying, but it's digital, but so, it's not a physical piece. So we started it's like that all of this that we started using we applied the same economic usage of art into the digital art. So it doesn't, it can't really work. You need to fine tune the way these things work to apply to a digital tool. Like I'm selling you a unique piece that is a painting. Fine, great. This is a unique painting that you can put in your house. But if you have a digital artwork, I'm selling you as unique, a download and a copy of that digital file. Is that unique?
Right.
So is in the definition itself, and maybe and many might find this controversial, or everyone might have their own view. But I mean, digital for definition, it can't be unique. It's made to be replicated. So this is why Muro started. Muro started because we actually wanted to make digital art accessible and displayable and consumable. So instead of selling, try to sell the NFTs, we start you can rent the NFT, you can stream the NFT. So in this way, what happens is that also the more we allow more people to display more art, and the more an artwork is displayed, the more then you can go and say, okay, this digital piece is valuable because it has been exhibited in London, in Sydney, in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai. So, oh wow, okay, this becomes a great investment opportunity, because there's demand for this kind of artwork. So I want to own it. And tomorrow, this artwork is going to be in Times Square, and I can say I'm the collector of it. So creating the icon, we pretty much wanted to connect to the giving a value, doing value determination for digital art through the display and the accessibility of art.
Wow, you really perfectly answered my next question, which was what is origin of Muro and how you guys started. But actually, I didn't know this part. This is super cool. And this difference in are they willing to pay? Maybe not yet at these prices, but let's introduce them to this. Let's educate them. Let's build up these superstars in digital art that will be at the end have value, because it's beautiful, but people need to understand why it should be priced at higher levels, right? Really cool. Then I want to just continue then in this this way, because Muro, even though it's what is the meaning of the word actually?
Muro means wall.
Wall.
In Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, and other languages, wall.
Then I want to ask, even though it's about displaying digital art, making it accessible for people, but I know that you've invested a lot of resources and you worked with different people on it to actually research how people react on it. It's not just about monetary value of it, or saying I have something that was in Times Square, but it's about actually creating emotions in people, right? And when we talk about emotions, there is so many different applications of where it can lead. So can you tell us a little bit about this, how art influences emotions? How did you approach it from this scientific perspective, maybe?
Yeah, it started by literally me being physically present during digital art exhibitions. I noticed that next to certain artworks, I was feeling, chattier. I was feeling more anxious, more relaxed, happier, more excited, more energetic. I was literally next to certain art displays, I was feeling different emotions. So I noticed that I had my own favorite locations. So in Lisbon, I had the luck to meet one of my also dear friends, partner, and advisor in Muro is Francisco Teixeira. Is a neuroscientist. So we pretty much started what if we could actually figure out how digital art is making people feel? And is there any way to understand what is about the art that is making people feel in that way? So this question pretty much prompted research.
Questions, yes.
Pretty much prompted an interesting research and into the neuroaesthetic field. So it's coming from the science of the things that we see are influencing us, the light, the color, right? All the senses are creating a sensation in us. Even the color of your shirt right now is making me feel in a certain way. If you wear, I feel relaxed.
Relaxed, yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think is a blue. Is like is comforting. Is a comforting feeling. So that is, and this is the neuroaesthetic, right? So how the things we see are impacting us. So we started looking into what about the digital art is making people feel in which way, and we actually realized that there are three main emotions people feel, which is like focus, inspiration, and relaxation. And this is quite interesting discovery, because then it means that we can design mood based on the sensorial feeling we want to give to the people living in those spaces, right? So we can, one big part of what we're doing, it became the mood curation, became how you can create a sensorial design in a space through digital art, so that when you enter in an hotel, you feel more comfortable. Not just because there's Max wearing a blue shirt, right? But because also there's a big installation of an art display that is giving those kind of colors, shapes, movement that are impacting your brain to feel more comfortable while you're doing the check-in. Same for office environment. You might want to create spaces where people feel more focused, or you want to create areas, even in office environment, where people can, detach and disconnect and get more relaxed. So this is the overall mood curation, like backed by neuroscience, became one of the mission of Muro, like enhancing well-being through digital art.
Wow, that's a good way to say it. I wanted to ask you, yes, we talked about hotels, offices. What about maybe more like in a direction of well-being actually, and mental health and so on? I believe you guys it's part of your mission as well, right?
Absolutely. So this is what we're starting doing a lot. We start looking. I mean, even in choosing our partners to work with, we're choosing partners that like they're focusing on enhancing wellness in terms of choosing like the kind of the partners that have also in their mission the goal of enhancing well-being for their visitors. So that can be in hospitality or like even co-working spaces. And for the wellness aspect as well, like together with the creative team in Lisbon, we are like, prototyping a lot of very interesting installation that are getting in a direction of like, how can you really have immersive experience to get into an induced emotional state with digital art. So this is actively the quest we are conducting. And then we're going to apply this, everything we're discovering and all the immersive experiences we're creating, we're going to bring them to our partners.
Wow, cool. I have to ask you on this part, like, then what is infrastructure for displaying these experiences that you're creating? Like, do you have any what is important for you? How is displayed?
Yeah, so we've learned a lot in like talking about immersive experiences.
And please don't be favorable in my way because we're doing digital art frames. Just in general, like
I was gonna say like only framed.
only framed, yeah, the only company they should work with. Yeah.
No, jokes on the side. It's we've learned. I mean, we are focusing on the curation. We're focusing on the experience side, and we work with partners. And I want to mention Framed, and like we're having already some beautiful activation together,
Right.
and too many more. And I want to mention also Muse Frame because it's also our sponsor in the digital art studio in Lisbon. And so we work with different partners, and we work with even locally for every point we activate. We can work also with local partners. But there's some learnings we're having from what an immersive experience is, and one of the main learning is that the size of the display counts, and that is also proportional to the space where the display is installed, right? So you can have like if you have a very busy room and you have a very big display, it's going to end up looking small. Right, but if you have like the perfect positioning for the art and in a room, and then you put like a display from 55 inches higher, like then it's already going to create a completely different effect. So that's the display can be projector, that can be digital art frame, or a TV with our hardware connected to this is it depends on the application and the
I see.
point.
I want to circle back actually, and as I understand Muro now, maybe it's already beyond a startup, I would say, but it's your third one, right? It's your third startup in your life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. What is something that you would do differently if you were like back at 19 and it's your first startup? What would you do differently based on the knowledge you have now?
Oof. Okay, can I think about it? Like,
Please think about it, but maybe some like biggest lesson or some approach. It can be in building the team, choosing the right people for the team. It can
definitely like
be your mental health as well. I don't know. It's really
yeah. I mean, think about it because there's this learning. I'm trying to organize them. I would say definitely. I would say like go in, like put yourself in the right network. Like I talked already about the power of network. That is extremely important. Like like some of my projects worked and others didn't, and other like almost work because it really depended. I mean, despite the timing that I think is one of the most important factor, it depended also on where I started that project, right? And in what kind of opportunities I put myself into. Like, so it's a, if I look back, I would say like, always move and go where in the best place where you have the most possibilities of making that work. So this is one of the things. Then the team, I'd say about the team, it's be generous. Like this is also like something I've learned, that it doesn't make sense to to really like, I mean, sometimes founders, like startup founders, are already like they see themselves, they project themselves like so far in the future, and they start fighting for 1%, 2%, and those. But at the end of the day, if you want people to come on board with you and to go through the journey, like and sail this boat with you, like you need to let them in. So this is like, be generous. Then be flexible. Also, like don't get stuck on your idea. Don't get too stuck on how you think things should work. And also always put out 70% build solutions. Like the perfectionism cycle is damaging startups, like trying to be perfectionist. The perfectionist founder, probably most founders are perfectionists. And so the best thing a founder should learn is how to let go and put things out that are 70% done. So this is what I would tell my younger self.
It's really good advice. I agree, especially with the last one. Just go as soon as you can. Just go and see how the public will, like how the market will react to you. And then it will lead you to having to be flexible. If market don't like you or your idea, be flexible a little bit and
pivot,
yeah, pivot as well. I played handball a lot in my life, and pivoting. You know what's pivoting in handball? It's like I played this position a lot because I was always a bit stronger guy. So that this is the I like the word pivot. I want to ask you, how many people is needed for Muro to be a successful company? Or I know you have a really good team now as well. Do you think you should expand more, or you think with the current team it's kind of the perfect fit?
I'm a fan of remaining lean. I mean, depending, I would say for Muro, and shout out to all the amazing Muro team. They, I would say it's important to pick the right people to that are passionate about what they're doing to lead that. But more people bring more management, more admin, more and in a startup, I think that it's very important to just focus, as you said, on the market. Just focus on on fine tuning the product till you find the perfect product market fit.
Right.
You want to have people calling you asking for your product. Till you don't get that, you can't pick up your phone and say yes, and I can make my service available for you. Till you don't get there, I think you need to stay lean, and you need to constantly optimize the resources you have. So right now we are in a stage where we have a base in Lisbon and a base in Qatar, in Doha. But we're keeping things lean enough to talk to partners and run all the art activation in the gallery. So we're keeping it like this.
We got to know you, I hope. We got to know you as a CEO, as a technologist, but I really want to learn more about you as a curator as well. First of all, what is a curator?
And I want to probably I would say a curator is so I work with let me say this, I work with many curators, and I can't say I'm an art curator.
You're being humble, but okay.
Yeah, but seeing the work that those people are doing, I wouldn't position myself as a curator, but I could say that I think I have a good sense of a good taste, and I've lived the last 5 years.
I know because you complimented my shirt, so I know you have
exactly.
a good taste.
No, but I probably is also the Italian
in you
culture. Yeah. We as Italians, we grew up immersed into beautiful things, and we don't realize it, we don't notice.
Right.
Then as Italians, then you go to the US, you go to even grayer places like Berlin, or Middle East, that are more modern places, and and then you start realizing, oh wait, I'm actually bringing with me so much strong cultural heritage. I've seen so much beauty in my life, walking in the street, walking in the square, and so this is, I think, is shaping us to have a good eye for what to define what beauty is. Sorry, guys.
Take it. Cool. Let me ask you.
I wanted to finish saying that I guess I just started handpicking and selecting artworks for the exhibitions I was running.
Right.
And it was beautiful, the whole process of working with the artists, and even like getting to the point of like, okay, you're showing me like 15 different artworks. So tell me about this, tell me about that, and then creating our overall team that can go like, you just take an artwork because it needs to go next to other artworks. So how do you fit them together? So this is just a strong passion that arises in the last years, and that I keep doing also with Muro.
Cool, cool. Okay, let's say I have a hotel or a restaurant or whatever is an ideal client. How this process looks like from the first conversation that we do, like first touch, until the final results. Like what Muro brings to it, and what is the process?
Right. So first we understand the space. We understand like, what kind of space it is, the specific location where we think of activating art. So we need to understand, the energy. We need to understand like what kind of mood we want to bring in there. Then we would study the overall like guideline of the brand that we start working with. If it's an hotel, if it's a commercial space, if it's office or studio and so on. Then we would, based on that, with our team, we would select like a collection that would fit that space and that type of display. Then we organize it to be displayed, every artwork at a different time of the day, which for us is the key. So it's not just about, because digital, it means it can change, right? And that's the beauty. So if you get a painting and you put it on the wall, it will stay there. But if you have digital art, it means you can switch it during the day. So what Muro does is actually to bring you a programmation of art that is mood curated. So we want in the, in the morning to bring something maybe energetic. Everyone is starting their day. If it's an office, you want something dynamic. You want something that motivates people to, sit down and grind. During lunch, you maybe want something, more relaxed, more like, like inspiring, more like, okay, take your moment, have your break. So this is like the process of Muro, like understanding how the energy flows in a place and selecting the best artworks for every part of the day.
And usually, how long is the process? Like from on average, how long does it take?
It can take us a week.
A week?
Yeah.
But it can be a long as well, yeah?
It depends on the project.
Right. Okay. I want to ask you just a difference in working with people in Europe and then working here in Middle East. You're making your base here. Do you feel any difference?
Yeah. I feel here is more if if people like it, it happens.
Right.
Which is nice. In Europe is a lot of conversation. It's right. I like it, but, and so in Middle East is I like it, that's it.
Right. Understood. Cool. This is an important difference then. To focus your energy here for now, I think. Can you make money by investing in digital art today? You kind of explained this, it's maybe for the future, but you think today there are like certain artists, or I don't know, certain types of art that is good to invest in as an investment, like monetary sense?
I think always like, when you invest in art, you also want to invest not just in the, like, I think no one should invest in the piece just because of the piece, just to monetize from it. I mean, that's probably a different scale, like, if you buy Picasso, Monet, and right. But talking about emerging artists and digital artists, I think you want to invest in a digital artwork because you want to invest in the artist. So, if you want to support that artist, if you think that artists should keep creating, then yes, do everything you can to support that artist. And if the artist is selling a digital artwork as an NFT, that's one way of doing it. Right. So that's how I see it. Is a support. Is like, okay, I'm giving you my affirmation that please keep creating. that's I think why people should invest in art, to keep talented creators creating.
Cool. To finalize, I want to ask you, let's imagine it's 2029, 5 years from now. Where is Muro and where is Gianluca, Mr. G? What is happening?
Um, the first image in my mind was on a beach.
I can imagine. Like, yeah.
But the real image in my mind is that Muro is activating digital art experiences around the world in any sort of space, from commercial space to private space to like more product focus on wellness and well-being, and like even public, in 2029 you're gonna have a lot of screen,
Right.
a lot of screens around us. So we want to see beautiful digital art on those screens, and I see Muro bringing content and visuals around us that are actually like giving emotions to the people observing, and they're not just hooking for their attention like today's advertising.
Right.
So this is where I see Muro, and for my personal vision, I want to stay with Muro and keep having the resources to a network to create experiences. I want to just have this laboratory of of prototyping, whatever like you can do with art and tech, combining art, technology, and science.
So combining artists and scientists, right? Putting them
Yes,
together in the
yes,
room.
art, technology, and scientists. You put them together, and I think humanity will definitely benefit from that.
Really cool. Well, thank you so much for joining
Thanks
us
to you,
today.
Max.
It was an amazing conversation. I could keep continue.
Yeah, same.
But hopefully that's why we'll have a second one and third one, and
Sounds
hope
good.
to have you back. Super. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Max.
We can finish up.